CHIFCOD is an organization that runs educational institutions, microfinance institutions, healthcare, small businesses, and the organization right now serves a population of about 300,000 people. It is run by a group of 7 trustees, including me and my wife and 5 others. And these hold all the properties in trust, the buildings, the human resources, the land. We've got about 200 acres of land all around this district, and these trustees hold all this in trust for the community. The importance of CHIFCOD is responding to 2 very clear and critical realities. And the heart of the problem is that the government is not coping in quantity terms with the need for children's education. And you could say what CHIFCOD does is to create an overflow facility where fewer children can be brought out and be concentrated upon, be given a better education that is result-oriented and create for future leadership. We've got 4 primary schools. All of them have got a nursery. We don't separate. And that is Chirima Parents Primary School as the most senior, Nyamirama Parents Primary School as the second, Nyakabungo Parents Primary School as the third, Rutenga Christian Kindergarten as the 4th, and on the high school level, we have got Great Lakes High School as the school that receives children from 4 primary schools and also receives children from other surrounding primary schools. And after that, you got the Great Lakes Regional College. It was started just before the high school because of the heart that we the trustees had for the young people dropping out of school after O-level from the many existing schools. So Great Lakes Regional College is now an accredited higher education institution with accreditation from the National Council for Higher Education, able to give diplomas and certificates in its own name, and aspiring one day to have university status once the right resources have been put in place in terms of buildings and faculty, etc. CHIFCOD pioneered the creation of a system where the schools do not have to send children back home just because they have got an illness at the school, but we rather have a clinic on site and trying to have a clinic on every school, and also trying to get involved in the health of the families. If their children are having skin illnesses or waterborne diseases, then in the schools you call the parents and you teach them to boil their water before they drink it. You know, you teach them basic hygiene. It's like a dream if you can have people grow a lot of wheat, bring it in school instead of bringing cash for contributing to their children. Yes, sure. And you also have
school fees.
Yeah, school fees.
School
yeah.
Okay.
But the dream is about 2 years away. We think with this year, if we've got about 3 or 4 seasons, you give out wheat, it becomes a culture. CHIFCOD has created water projects in at least 3 communities, including the CHIFCOD water project that serves this Kanungu town, the CHIFCOD water project that was the very first in Nyamirama sub-county, and the CHIFCOD gravity water project that flows from Kanungu on to Katete. So you could say, of the 50% safe water coverage that we have in Uganda, non-government organizations like CHIFCOD account for a good amount of that. So many people would have more children spending time carrying water than going to school. More communities would have people that are going to hospital for preventable diseases because they have got no access to water. So you could say CHIFCOD addresses health issues seriously. The reason why you have more than 60% of the children who come to primary school dropping out is because peasant subsistence farming accounts for 98% of the livelihoods, and the families need the children for the labor. The children need to till the land. They need to support the family economy. They may be too young to go out and do agriculture, but they need to stay home and cook food for those who have gone to do the farming. And that is a poverty factor. And every girl child that has dropped out of school is going to have a baby within a year or two, both because of the redundancy and the sexual relationships that emerge out of that. Many of them, because the parents need the bride price, end up getting married, and that is, in pragmatic terms, a better situation. Better if they are going to be sexually involved, and now that they can't get any more education, that they are accounted for through a formal marriage, however young they might be. I know it is ridiculous that girls get married at 14 and 15. They are going to be fertile for the next 30 years of their lives, really, in which they have 10, 15 children, which many are doing. These are the many children that CHIFCOD has to find sponsors for. And that is what people like CHIFCOD do, reaching out to families, promising them a better future, encouraging them to bring their children, and actually giving them a better education that gives hope to the community. The core intervention for CHIFCOD is high-quality education for people even of the poorest backgrounds, and that educational intervention is where we would like to see the focus in the future. We need permanent partnership with donors that can put in the bridging the gap finances by sponsoring children so that the poorest children can get the best quality of education, by helping us improve and provide buildings, by helping us sponsor children, because with money that is given for sponsorships, we are able to feed children in the schools and to pay teachers. And many people are too quick to say to me, don't you think you do too much? Don't you think you should scale down and solve only part of the problem? What use is it giving children such a wonderful education if you know they're going to have a wonderful degree, but they'll be on the street all their lives? So for me, it's doing a little bit of each to set the pace of how you can account completely for the life cycle. The need to intervene on all levels of human development is just an inescapable reality. And that's what keeps me going. And that's what is making me call for partnerships from the whole world, especially partnerships from the young people. So I would like every young person to take a pilgrimage to Uganda in the course of their university education, because they can change a lot with their brains, with their hands, with their money, and with their relationships back home. If every returning volunteer undertook to find a sponsorship for 2 children, you know, the impact on the local children who need support would be absolutely colossal.